That Metal Show from Los Angeles, California. We'd like to bring out tonight's first guests. They were one of England's biggest rock exports of the 80s, and their latest album is called Choice of Weapon. Please welcome to the show, from the Cult, Ian Astbury and Billy Duffy. Thanks for being here.
Gentlemen, what's up?
What's going, guys?
What's up? All right.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's standing up.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
It's exciting.
It's an exciting time for the Cult with a great new album, Choice of Weapon. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about its origins and how you guys came together to make it.
This one started back in 2009. Billy and I did some demos in New York, and we'd already been working with Chris Goss, producer. From Masters Reality, did like Queens of the Stone Age and Caius. We started working with him. We did a few EP-style records, and then we realized there was a real demand for an album, so we kind of got to work, you know.
Well, when I listen to this album, it kind of reminds me of kind of electric crossed with love.
That analogy was Bob Rock's intention for Sonic Temple when he produced Sonic Temple back in
'88.
You know, yeah, back in. Yeah, then. That was his intention. He thought that the Love album kind of covered one area of us and the Electric was another, but he felt that neither of those albums was the whole story. So that was his attempt on Sonic Temple, and that's kind of interesting you would say that, because that's kind of where we got with this one.
You know, we've made what, 3 records with Bob now?
It's a fourth.
Fourth record with Bob. So we know, in fact, we were working with Bob before Metallica. So one of the reasons Metallica actually worked with Bob is because of us.
Right.
I remember him asking me, he says, I'm working with Metallica, what do you think? I said, get the man to sing, you know? Get him to sing.
To inject some melody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, get the melody and get singing, and I think that was a very important thing for them.
Oh, he's been singing ever since. Yeah.
Turned out well, yeah.
It turned out well.
Yeah, they've done okay.
They did all right out of that one.
Yeah. So wait a minute, so I think we just figured out that Metallica's massive success is due to Ian Astbury.
Nice.
See that?
Well, I'm like Forrest Gump. I'm a bit like you.
Have you gotten any checks?
I'm the Forrest Gump guy. I get in places I shouldn't be in.
Oh, really? You got any checks or anything from Metallica?
No, but you know what? Lars has been incredibly supportive. In fact, I got a text from him recently. He heard Lucifer. We did a download of one of our songs, Lucifer, and he texted me to say, you know, sounds great. And he also texted me to say, thank you so much for supporting the Lutalica record. I was one of the few people that stood up and said...
you were one of the few.
Yeah.
He's not the other guy, right?
I stood up and said, I thought Lulu was a genius record, and here's why I qualify it. Because Lou Reed is a 70-year-old man, and he's lived a life, and he's probably one of the most important writers of all time. And in many ways, you know, the Velvet Underground, Lou Reed, they were doing rock and roll in the 60s and 70s when it was really dangerous. Mm-hmm. You know, they were like, they were incredibly, you know, blacklisted, and a very, very important pioneer in music. And Lou Reed's a great guitar player as well. So the fact he chose Metallica kind of showed that he wanted to just come back one more time. They were his muscle. You know, he came back with his gang.
Well, speaking of big bands, I mean, obviously you guys had, you know, the MTV era was huge for you guys. But even now, you guys are about to embark on an arena tour in Europe. So, I mean, things are doing hot for you guys now.
Yeah, we're
still at it. We're still chipping away at the rock and roll cold face.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
It's like some people say, what you guys been doing for the past few years? Saying whatever it takes to survive, baby, you know. We made one record 5 years ago. We actually toured the Love record, which was very successful. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Choice of Weapon is we're getting incredible responses from
it's a great album.
Well,
so it's pretty exciting.
We've got a lot more to talk to you guys about with the new record and what's coming up for the Cult, so we'll get into that in just a little bit. So stick around, more with Ian and Billy coming up, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of That Metal Show. Frank Hannon, play us into break, please. to That Metal Show, your home of all things hard rock and heavy metal. While we were in break, Ian and Billy said, "Oh no, not a clip, not a clip, not the TMS vault."
Yeah.
Hate to do it to you guys, but take a look as we go into your past.
Just exposure. I think one of the things that
What happened?
the cult have suffered from in the past was a lack of exposure, maybe to do with the name. You know, in the United States, every time you hear the word the cult, it's either Blue Oyster Cult, us, or like people being chopped up and buried in Mexico. She's a bit like, you know, tough, you know, on us. I mean, people associate that.
When we first came over to the States, it's like getting older people by the throat and saying, we're not the Cure. You know, I am not Robert Smith.
We don't really quite easily fit in along all those other metal bands, you know, in the metal magazines and the stores. I mean, it's difficult sometimes to know, and I mean, we lose kind of a bit of objectivity. It's not really for us to say.
You know, it's kind of
we're
like
a rock and roll band.
We're not really like toothpaste and hairspray. I mean, there's like all these bands out there that like brush their teeth and it's like gnarly, dude. And then all of a sudden they look us in the eye and we just grit our teeth and we kind of go, this is the real thing. You know, we do it our way.
Woo! I like that.
Fired up. Billy, you looked horrified when you saw it. You were having a good hair day that day.
I'm traumatized. What happened? Where did he go? What happened to that guy? I think he's in that. I think he's in Steel Panther, isn't he now, that guy? I will point out though, very cool T-shirts. Very cool T-shirts being worn there by the two band members.
In that?
Oh,
I
yes,
didn't
sir.
notice them. What were they?
One was a motorcycle T-shirt from Frisco Choppers I was wearing, and he was wearing Steve Jones's Fire and Gasoline album.
Great album.
Just
I
the
got
little
production credit on that,
details,
by the way.
really, that
You did?
matter.
You know, it's interesting because what you guys were talking about that and the state of rock and roll and where the cult have always kind of fit in. I think what's always interesting about this band is you've always had a wide net of people that like the band and find something in the history of the music that they love. There's certainly a lot of appeal to the hard rock
Metalheads
and
like
metal
you guys, alternative crowds like you, hard rock crowds like you.
But when you guys first broke, you know, in the States, they pretty much lumped you in with the metal, and you guys weren't
Yeah, the Electric album was the first real album. I mean, we came with the Love album, which was much more underground, college, you know, postmodern kind of thing. But even on the Love album, you know, there's influence of the Stooges, Zeppelin. I mean, we were still kind of, that's the stuff we were listening to when making that record.
We just couldn't play it.
Did you guys have any weird bills that you got lumped in with when you guys came to the States because you were on, like, you know, considered metal?
Well, I mean, we ended up playing 60-odd shows with Metallica, and you know, Guns N' Roses opened for the Cult in '87. I mean, we kind of came straight. But then again, you know, Metallica and Guns N' Roses were like, we were the same age. But it was like family, really. They were like our cousins, and we instantly.
We were lucky in that respect. In '87, we toured with Billy Idol, and then Guns N' Roses opened for us in America. So that was '87 on Electric. We didn't get cornered into anything too awkward.
Yeah.
Where do you find the most intense crowds for the cult?
Argentina,
Yeah.
South America.
They're crazy down there for hard rock and metal.
Our show's on there. We get tons of
Argentina's,
email from there.
you know, Brazil, Argentina, South America is amazing.
Before we have to move on to break, you guys have all done stuff outside of the confines of the cult. You, of course, sang with The Doors for a little while.
I did.
And talk about that experience for a second, if you will.
Oh, my Lord.
Was that good, or?
It was intense. It was an education. It was a huge education for me.
Glad you did it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, at first you know, it's quite intimidating at first, but I learned a lot with the guy, with Ray and Robbie.
Didn't Oliver Stone want you to play Jim in the movie?
Yeah, that was strange. Danny Sugarman called me up and said, do you want to meet Oliver Stone? He's making a film about the Doors. And I was like, okay, sure, why not? So went out with Oliver, and we ended up getting really drunk, crashed Danny's BMW, and, you know, after a while he says, were you any interested in doing it? I said, I was like cocky. I was like, no. I said, in 20 years' time, people will be making a film about me, you know. It's like, but I know.
And Billy, real quick, what kind of stuff do you have cooking outside of the band?
I don't cook outside of the band too much. I don't actually cook at all.
You jam from time to time with some people, right?
I do. No, I do. I do. To be honest, for a long period of time with the cult, I didn't want to play with other people outside of the band because I wanted to kind of have I had some idea that I would keep my purity in what I did if I didn't play. And that was good for a while. And then that flipped completely. And now, having played with a lot of other great musicians and you know, me and Jerry Cantrell had a fun band for a while where we went and did loads of covers, the two of us. We did the whole 2-guitar attack thing called the Cardboard Vampires. That was fun. We literally put stuff in a U-Haul and put it on the back of our little SUVs and drove around the West Coast and played gigs. And that was an education. It really broadened me out, you know, so that was good. I enjoy doing that, but it's really for fun.
Right.
They call it serious business for me.
And you guys have, you know, splintered off a few times, but you've always come back together, and, you know, I'm sure you guys are all psyched that these guys are back and have new music.
That's great. Well, coming up, we're going to be joined by Doro, and then Eddie gets the hardest trivia questions imaginable so I can get a chance to plug my latest CD in another round of Stump the Trunk. But before we go, we're honored to have with us tonight Joey Belladonna from Anthrax.
There he is.
Nice to see you, buddy. Hey, Frank, take us out.
Los Angeles. We'd now like to bring out our next guest. She was the singer for the German metal group Warlock, and she has had an amazing 30-year solo career as one of metal's premier female vocalists. Please welcome to That Metal Show, Doro.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Hi, how are you? Nice to meet you. How are you?
It's very, 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 very rare that we have guests on this show that don't know each other and have not had any common ground, but you guys do not know each other, so...
I think we played a festival together,
Really?
the Hellfest.
Hellfest in last year in France. Oh, you played?
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. That's good to have some European metalheads on here.
Yeah, well, it's good to have some female metalheads on here as well.
We did have Billy in that clip before. That's close.
That was pretty good rock hair, man.
That is great hair.
That was
He's a
top five.
female metal.
That was top
He's
five
a very
rock
pretty
hair.
man. Very pretty man.
But we've known each other for a long time, and it's great to have you finally here on That Metal Show.
Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, you've had incredible landmark in your career recently with an anniversary show that you did in Germany with so many special guests. Talk a little bit about that.
Oh, it was like, I think the best show we've ever done, and it was in Düsseldorf, my hometown, where everything started, and great guests came to the show. Bobby Blitz of Overkill, the Scorpions were there. We did a reunion of my old Warlock band, and it was 3.5 hours long, and was great.
Dora, you were saying that you recorded the album in a really big venue, like the size of Madison Square Garden.
Yes, yes. Actually, usually we play like maybe 2,000 seaters, and it was like a big challenge, but we filled it up. It was packed, was sold out, but I would love to do my 30th anniversary in the Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, let's make the Eddie Drunk on the radio in New York.
Exactly.
You can make it happen,
always
Eddie.
No pressure there.
Keep plugging. But you actually put it out on DVD, too. There's an audio and a DVD of the whole show, which is
and
great.
there's some other footage on it. We did our 2,500th show, and some Wacken footage is on, and it's like, yeah, it's a good package. I think it's 8 hours full speed, full metal jacket, yeah.
It's incredible when you think that Doro is coming up on 30 years. First of all, look at her, that she's been doing this 30 years.
Yeah.
Started when you were like 5, probably, or something.
Yeah.
But, no, seriously, but you know, you have been, one of the things I've always loved about you is you've been so consistent about the music you've done. You know, you've always waved the flag for the bands that you love and working with the bands you love. And I mean, it's so rare to find, you know, especially a female artist in this business, which is so male-dominated, to have the career you've had.
But I I must say I was always so supported by the fans, by the metalheads, by other bands, by other musicians. My first tour was in '86 with Judas Priest. They were so good to us. And then it was Wasp and Dio and Motorhead, and everybody was somehow, yeah, very supportive. And I love it so much. And that's the reason why I've never been married. I don't have kids. I'm totally married to the metalheads and to metal.
Yeah.
That's great.
So what?
Usually a guy says that we're married to it. That's good. You should write a book about it because we get a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
What do you have coming up? Because you celebrated this landmark anniversary 25 years, a couple years ago.
A couple of years.
So
Yeah.
where are you at now? What are
Come
things
to
coming
America.
up?
Yeah, actually.
She tours a lot in America. You do really well, too.
Yeah. We didn't come to LA last tour, but New York and and everywhere. And yeah, we first want to do the new record. It's called Raise Your Fist. The first single is called Raise Your Fist in the Air. And then, yeah, my 30th anniversary, we probably celebrate in Wacken. And then I want to do it here in the States.
Yeah.
I hope in New York.
Come with the cult. They'll bring you.
Yeah, that would be great. That
We're
would
already
be
putting
great.
a package tour together.
Yeah.
Because we had,
package tours on the show.
we had so many guests on my 20th anniversary. It was Motorhead and Saxon, and on the 25th, it was like, yeah, well, we just said, like, the Scorpions, my Warlock guys, and all the great ladies of metal. We did one song together, it's called Celebrate, and we played the full metal female version, and, like, the best female rockers were on, like
And who's on there?
Angela from Arch Enemy, Sabina Klaasen from Holy Moses, Veronica Freeman from Benedictum, and the Girls of Girls School, and so many more, and, yeah.
Well, you've worn it on your sleeve for 3 decades and done it well, so thank you for that. And
Thank you.
All right, Eddie, I just want to let you know, I put your hotel room key in the box of junk. Now, hopefully the biggest, hairiest, sweatiest member of the studio audience doesn't pick it out. Actually, I hope she does. Folks, you know what time it is. What's up, buddy?
All right.
Hey, how are you guys?
look who it
Celebrity
is.
Stump the Trunk.
It's the mute man that sat next to Axl Rose in our interview for an hour.
It's me. I can actually speak.
DJ Ashba, he has a voice.
Hi. I have a quick question. I also, outside of Guns N' Roses, I have another band called 6 a.m.
Well, I thought that was going to be your question.
No.
Oh,
What does
darn,
6
I
a.m.
knew that.
stand for?
Yep.
Oh.
Nikki Sixx,
Right.
DJ Ashba,
Right.
James Michael.
Yeah.
I
If I
took
could
you
cuss, I
down,
would've cussed. I
Ashba.
tried to stop him.
I got to.
You got it. Cool.
And wait, we should tell everybody on the record just so people understand. DJ Ashbro sat next to Axl that whole time because Axl wanted him to be
Yeah,
there.
let's clear this up.
Yeah,
Thank
because
you.
everybody's like, why didn't you talk to DJ? He was there because Axl wanted him.
I had already done my interview an hour
You did your
earlier.
interview already,
Yeah.
but we're
But
glad
at
to have you
5:30,
here.
I was sleeping. I was just like a prop.
Yeah.
I was sleeping.
But
So were we.
the fans loved it because they said, hey, you know what? He came in there with Axl and he was respectful. He knew it was Axl's thing. And
Yeah.
when you chimed in at the perfect time. So,
Yeah, I knew the fans, they want to hear from him, so.
yeah.
Well, it's nice to have you here, and it's
have
even
all the
nicer to
Jaeger
get your
bombs.
question right.
And wait, DJ's got a great rock and roll fashion line now, ashbaswag.com. We already wore some of the stuff on the show. It's
Thank
really
you.
cool. He's kicking ass in Guns N' Roses.
And
Thank
6
you.
a.m. stuff.
And
Good
6
stuff.
a.m., man. Thanks.
Thank you.
But he
Thanks
couldn't
for
kick the
coming by,
trunk's
man.
ass.
Couldn't beat me. I got you.
You got you.
Thanks for coming down, bro.
All right, man.
See you, man. So glad I got that right.
What's your name?
Rhett,
And where you from?
New Orleans.
What's your question, Freddie?
Before the cult was known as the cult, they were the death cult. Before that, what were they known as?
The Southern Death Cult.
Very nice. Thank you. That was multi-layered.
2 different bands, though.
I just got it right. That's all I care
You got
about.
that right, but it was two separate bands, some Death Cult and Death
As long
Cult,
as they
two
say
separate
I'm right, I'm good.
bands. Okay, get out.
Hello,
What's your name?
Hi.
Loretta Gabaldon,
And where you from?
Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Nice. What's your question, Freddie?
Doro joined Motorhead on stage in 2011 concert. At what venue and what song did she sing backup vocals for?
Who? Doro?
Yeah.
Yep.
Joined Motorhead.
At a live concert, 2011. What
Was
was
it
the
in
song
America?
and
Yeah, it was in America.
in
It was
the
in
United
America.
States?
wasn't ace of spades.
Softball.
Oh, I was just going to say that. Thank you.
No.
More hints.
I'm going to say Love Me Like a Reptile.
Killed by Death.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
What was the
Come on out,
venue?
Jennifer.
What was the venue? Where was it?
Best Buy.
What was the Best Buy?
You got me on that one.
Uh-oh.
Look at that.
Oh, look at this. Terrorizing Telemarketers, Volume 5. Don Jameson and Jim Florentine. I don't know how this got in there. I don't even have this.
Yeah.
Is that the one I make the special guest appearance?
Thank you.
Yeah. Great comedy CD.
A lot of hijinks on there.
Terrific beer coaster.
Hi, what's your name?
Laura,
And where are you from?
Mission Viejo.
What's your question, Freddie?
The Joan Baez song that is, sorry.
Why are you looking at Jim's pack?
Why is he squinting?
The Joan Baez song, Diamonds and Rust, is featured on 4 officially released Judas Priest albums. Name 3.
Oh, my goodness.
Come on,
Live
think
and
it
studio.
through. Use the metal mind. This is easy.
Sin After Sin. Unleashed in the East. And there's the one with
Yep, that one.
Ripper singing, the
What's it
live album
called?
with Ripper. It's like, damn, it's the
Live.
one with the silver cover. It's like Priest live in England or something.
You're close.
Maybe it's a city in
It's-
England.
What? It's the live album with Ripper.
You got to name
Not,
it.
it's
though.
not 98 Live. It's the one after it.
Which is
Why
called.
are you yelling at me?
Oh, Live in London.
That's
yes,
it. Got it.
Excellent.
Damn, this is taxing. from pulling my brain cells out what's left of them. Go ahead, man. How are you?
What's your name?
Jessica,
And where are you from?
San Diego.
What's your question, Freddie?
What Kiss song did Doro cover on her 1990 self-titled album, Doro? And who is the executive producer?
As usual, Kiss-related stuff is very hard to get me on. That's the one area I'm very confident of, ma'am. The executive producer was Gene Simmons. And the song is a very kind of under-the-radar Kiss song from the Elder album called Only You.
That's right. That's right. And I love it. It was such a great time. And man, yeah.
If Kiss would only do this show, I could show them my prowess. All right, now it's time for our pick of the week, and it's a new album from the band Charred Walls of the Damned, featuring our good friends Tim Ripper Owens on vocals, one of his 15 bands that he's in.
Yes.
And drummer Richard Christie. It's called Cold Winds on Timeless Days, the second album from these guys.
Yep.
And good, slamming, straight-up heavy metal music. It's real good.
Yeah, and they're actually going to tour with this record, too. They did a little tour, the first one. You know, Ripper. Richard Christie is such an underrated drummer.
Yeah, and Richard...
You know, a lot of people don't know about him. They know him from the Howard Stern show and
Right.
doing silly things on there, which I love, but...
Well, he paid us the ultimate compliment. Other than Kirk Winstein tattooing our logo onto his chest, Richard did the ultimate tribute where he tried to give himself oral treats while wearing a That Metal Show T-shirt.
Was he successful?
Yeah.
Wait, let me clean that up. He tried to his own while he was wearing a That Metal Show T-shirt.
And was he successful?
No.
Okay.
No. He's Irish, so. All right, coming up next, we're going to find out whatever happened to Randy Jackson. Then, get ready for Eddie to blow another gasket when we decide which musical institution is more clueless, the Rock and Roll Hall of Shame or the Shammies. Stick around. We got a lot more coming up when That Metal Show returns. Take us out, Frank.
rock and heavy metal. What do we have for tonight's Whatever Happened to, Jim?
This email comes from Karen from Washington, D.C., who writes, whatever happened to former Zebra guitarist Randy Jackson?
Well, I see Randy quite a bit, and he's not the former guitarist and singer in Zebra. He's the current. He never left the band. The band isn't that active. It's still the original three guys, and Randy does that.
He does the Zeppelin thing, too.
He does
right?
a Zeppelin orchestra type show, which is, I haven't seen, but I heard is amazing. He does solo acoustic shows, and still a guitar player. But the thing about Randy is he's a super perfectionist. Zebra put out their last album maybe like 6-7 years ago, and he's just one of these guys that will work on a record for 10 years before he feels like it's ready to come out. So, like a lot of the guys we get asked this, they're still active. Just look them up online and give them your support if you can, because a lot of them are still doing it.
Absolutely. All right, everyone, now it's time to see which musical institution is more clueless when it comes to hard rock and heavy metal. Now, wearing a dunce cap in one corner, we have the Grammys, a.k.a. the folks that gave Jethro Tull a heavy metal Grammy over Metallica. Yeah, the flute is so metal. Drooling in the other corner is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a.k.a. the home of Run DMC and Grandmaster Flash. Maybe Maiden can find a home at the Source Awards. Two dumb organizations, no doubt, but only one will win this race to the bottom in the throwdown. All right, 2 minutes on the clock, please. Billy.
The second one.
The second one. The
Rock and Roll
Grammys?
Hall of Fame, no, that was...
Which one? Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Okay.
I always thought rock and roll was all about not having to be, you know, have the establishment tell you that it was okay. I don't know why you need an institution to say that give rock and roll
But
awards.
which one's more clueless?
I think all institutions are pretty clueless, to be honest
Beautiful.
with you.
All right, he picks everybody. Go ahead, Doro.
I would say, yeah, the Grammys, I think.
The Grammys, the most clueless,
weird
Edward?
choices.
This is going to shock the world, but I will explain it in a second. The Grammys.
All right.
Grammys.
Grammys, really?
Yeah.
Now, only because they willfully ignore hard rock and metal, I got to say the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
But here's exactly it, Don, and here's why. You're right. This is the difference.
All right, then it's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
This is the difference. No, this is the difference. I got to specify this. The category was clueless.
Oh, yes.
Clueless, not worse, not more intentionally bad, clueless. Now, the Grammys are like your grandfather or something, be like, they want to do the right thing, but they really just don't get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They want to talk to you about music you love, but they just don't fully understand it. It's not intentional. It's not malicious. The Hall of Fame knows exactly what they're doing.
That's right.
They're
You're right.
exactly intentionally these great bands.
Whoa!
It's by design. It's by design because they have an elitist attitude against these great bands, and they know what they're doing wrong. The Grammys are harmless. They just don't know any better. They're just like, oh, you know what? Spin the wheel. Oh, Foo Fighters came up. Give them everything. They just don't know any better.
Well, jump in here, Billy. Jump in.
You should start your own institution.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
The Trunk Awards.
But the Trunk Awards.
And the Grammys don't even show the award on TV. At least if someone goes in the Rock Hall of Fame, they'll actually show them play.
The Grammys are awful, and they just need help.
All right,
they want to do the right thing.
But
the Hall is intentionally doing the wrong thing.
What do you guys think? Who's the most clueless? Is it the Grammys? Or is it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I understand the logic. I'm fine with that, by the way, but I'm trying to define the logic. But
all right, watch out for the Trunk Awards.
Yeah. Trunk Awards coming to VH1 Classic.
Well, that's all for that metal show. We'd like to thank Ian, Billy, and Doro for stopping by.
Yeah. And thank you, Mr. Frank Hannon, for killing it on that platform today.
I'm like all riled up now. We got to end the show.
Yeah.
If you'd like to see this episode or any past episodes of TMS, you know what to do. Head over to thatmetalshow.vh1.com. And remember, you can always follow us on Twitter and enjoy more rants. For Don Jameson and Jim Florentine, I'm Eddie Trunk. We'll see you right here next week on That Metal Show. Jim's back.
Why is he squinting?
He's Irish.